You're listening to the Sasha Davis Podcast, a show about overcoming fear and manifesting your dream life. Each week, we'll dive deep into real stories and tangible advice about spirituality, law of attraction, mindset, and money so that you can be your happiest, healthiest, and most abundant self. You ready? Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today I have Kelsey with us and we're going to talk angel numbers. I'm pretty excited about this. I am always looking at angel numbers. I've always been fascinated by numbers, and I'm sure Kelsey, you can relate to this, but like growing up, I remember every time the clock would hit like 11:11, everybody's like 11:11, make a wish. To the point where like you can't wait for the clock to hit like 11:11 so you can make a wish. But then like as I got older and kind of realized that and I think you'll dive into this too, but angel numbers to me are kind of like signs from our angels, from our guides, from the universe saying like, hey, you're on the right track, or hey, pay attention, or hey, this is happening, or somebody's trying to communicate with you. And so angel numbers, or just numerology in general, is a fascinating topic. So let's where do you want to start? I mean, there's so much to talk about when it comes to numbers.
I mean, I kind of want to start with the make a wish, like 11:11, because I was the same way. I literally like grew up my whole life and I was like 11:11, make a wish. And then like my whole life, those wishes did come true, but I never realized like when I was a kid that there's a reason why, it
Mm-hmm.
happened. And so like I think we were taught make a wish, because that's manifestation. And that's really, if you go back to Disney World, that's with and numbers always mean something to us, and if you see repeating numbers it means even more. And if you see one where it's like random numbers like 638, you keep seeing 638 all the time somewhere, it does mean something. You have to look up the numbers to understand why you're being thrown that number 638 all the time, because it does mean something. But with numerology, we can go in depth, we can go really in depth, or just kind of touch base with it. But I kind of want to just touch base with it today, and it's just the number of coinciding events together. Like you see a number and then events happen after it, and it's just like a
Mm-hmm.
repeating number. So that's what angel numbers are. And so people are, and then don't look at angel numbers like this is like I see 111, it's going to happen. It's more like, just so you know, you're on track and you're going the way you're supposed to go. It's not to like look for the numbers for an answer, because I did the same thing where I was like 11:11, okay, my wish is coming, where is it at? It's coming in somewhere, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I have to do it, I have to do this, the numbers are telling me what to do, I have to make do with what it is. So we can just go into like the basics, or we can, because I kind of have like the basic numbers, or we can kind of just
Mm-hmm.
talk about our stories about like what we've gone through.
Let's do both. So I want you to kind of run through, because I think the ones that people most of the time they see are like in repeating of like threes, like one one
Okay.
one, 222, 333. At least that's the most common that like people come to me about. They're like, I see 333 everywhere. I see 222 everywhere. And you're right. It is more about the validation that you're on the right track, or to pay attention. It's not necessarily like everything's happening for you right in this moment. It's more like, yes, keep going. Like it's those subtle nudges from the universe or from your guides saying keep going, keep going. So I mean, if you want to walk through what kind of like the basic numbers are and what they represent, and then yes, I would be more than happy to share kind of my story with numbers and which ones I see all the time. So
Okay, and I could do that too, because I dreamt about them last night. So I was like, this is meant to be, apparently. Um, so okay, so I'm just gonna go into the angel numbers. So the reason why, if you see 111, it means stay on track. So that's why when you see 11:11, which I saw before we had this appointment, so I'm staying on track of my goals, and making sure that I follow the thoughts that are coming into my brain, and actually trusting those thoughts are good things, because 111 is really your thoughts kind of coming in, and the angel saying yes, yes, yes. Um, 222 means everyone around you loves you. You are loved by your angels. You're important. It can mean you meeting your twin flame. But really 222 is just, you need to remind yourself, it could be that you don't feel loved at that moment and you see 222 and it's just the angels know, reminding you that you are loved, you're important, and you might not feel like you're important right now, but you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then going to 333, that's all about creativity manifesting into reality. So when you see 333 and you're like, maybe I should do this podcast, that's it saying, yes, be creative, keep doing that. You're manifesting that into reality. Like I manifested this into reality because I've been talking about wanting to do this forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just following that guidance. And then 444 is the sign of protection and encouragement. So just know that you're strong, you can do this. Anytime I see 444, it's really when I'm in a rut and I'm like, okay, I gotta be strong, I gotta get out of this. 555 is change in a life of perspective. It could mean that you're working on something and there's progress, and then you see 555 and it finally changed. So like somebody was making it hard for you and then that person changed and now it's easy. 666, people are always scared of because they think it's the devil, but it's not. It just means be aware of your thoughts because they turn into reality. So if you're thinking negative thoughts and it's, you see 666, it's saying stop doing that. Be positive. Worst case scenarios, 666 means. So like you're running through worst case scenarios, we can't do that. we gotta revert that. And then 777, you're on the right path. Everything's fine. You're fine. Just keep going. 888 is just be strong again. You know, good things are coming. Everything's like prosperous. It's all fine. And then 999, of course, is like the completion. Your angels want to know that you're blessed and everything's happening the way it's supposed to happen and all is well. And just saying like it's completion of the cycle. You're done with that chapter and on to the next.
I like that.
Yeah. And so like these numbers really, like you have to pay attention, but everybody has their own version. So it's like you might have your own definition of each number too, because of what you feel about them. Because these
Mm-hmm.
are my definition, but like I use these numbers every day. Like some days I'm like, I'm gonna go. One day I was like, I'm gonna go to the Goodwill. I don't know why. I don't go to the Goodwill ever. I just feel like going. It's 9 in the morning. I'm gonna go. And I saw like the angel number 333 and then I saw 444 and I was like, okay, I'm supposed to go. And I like ended up going to the Goodwill and then found out that they like do this like consolidating where they take all their jewelry and sell it in bulk. And like my
Oh,
sister wraps jewelry. So like it made us figure out we can go buy all that jewelry to wrap it in bulk. And that's what the universe was telling me to go do.
that's interesting. I like that. So the ones, okay, so go back through them because the ones that I
Okay.
see all the time are, I would say 444 and 555 are like the number one, the top two that I see almost every single day. Like every day,
Okay.
every I see 555 like every morning. And then I see 444 like every afternoon. And it's so funny because I won't look at the clock for hours, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, there it is. Or like in the morning, like I'll because I usually get up between 5 and 5:30. Um,
Yeah.
and honestly, it's just I don't even like to brag that like I'm a 5 a.m. or whatever, because there's some days I'd get up at like 6. But I
Yeah.
swear that if I don't get up that early, my kids are like they're like on me all day long. So I'm like, I gotta get up early so that I can have some quiet time. But almost every single day, as soon as I'm done with like a meditation or a journal prompt or something like that, I'll glance down at my phone and it will be 555, you know?
Yeah. And it just means like it's changing. Like it's okay. You might feel like you're not gonna like move or whatever, but it's really that it's gonna happen. The change is happening. And you might not see it like right now, but it'll be 100% done by the end of your birthday.
Yeah, I think it's just validation to like trust the process, you know, and this
Yeah.
is something that I've just been surrendering to, you know, because I feel like our society, and maybe you can relate to this, like everybody wants to like push and hustle, and not saying that like you shouldn't put in the work or anything, but sometimes things are just meant to unfold as they should. And if they unfolded any sooner, it wouldn't work out in everybody's best interest. And so I just have to keep reminding myself, nope, there's a bigger plan at play here. You just have to chill out, Sasha.
Yeah. And everything happens for a reason. And like 444, seeing it all the time is that you just need to stay consistent with doing that, because it protects your soul, because you need that time without your kids. You need that time to protect your soul.
Yeah.
And the 555 is just saying it's going to change. The change is going to happen. Even though you don't see it, it's going to happen. Because that's every time I see 555, it really does change the perspective. And it could just be even you changing your perspective. Like every day you're waking up and changing your perspective of, I'm going to enjoy the moment. I'm going to be with my kids and I'm going to do what I'm here to do, compared to other people where they're just running around. They're not even paying attention. It's like, we have to pay attention because our lives are important. We don't have to run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like and I think your angels are just basically saying like, I'm so proud of you. You are doing this. You're putting yourself first. Even though you're running, you're putting yourself first.
Which is such a hard thing to do for people. I know we were just talking about that before I hit record, is, we just chronically want to like help and give to other people. And then sometimes putting yourself on the calendar can be tough. And I know that if I don't do some of those things for myself first thing in the morning, then my whole day gets away from me and I end up like not filling my cup at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand completely. I even go into my appointments and I'll be like, okay, I don't see an appointment for me. I'm going to do an appointment for me, because
Hmm.
I'm important too. And that's like one thing, like all of us coaches, we have to literally make sure we're taken care of, because we always take care of everybody else. And we're so
Yeah.
good at like saying it's fine, but like us coaches, we have self-care too. Like I take every Tuesday is my self-care day. And that's the day where I can go get a massage, or I make sure 100% I take care of myself. Like my needs are 100% met every Tuesday, because I'm a person where I can't get to it every day. So I just was
Hmm.
like, I'm dedicating one day a week. At least that one day will be towards it. But like yours works too. It's good to do it in the morning consistently. The best way to do it is consistently every day. But it's so good for you, because like when you meditate and you start slowing down and kind of realizing you are in control of your own life, like with the angel numbers, that's the whole point of them, to wake you up saying you're in control of your own life. Wake up,
Hmm.
see the numbers, they're not just there randomly. Like I literally I don't leave my house that often, and when I leave I see repetitive license plate numbers everywhere, and I'm like, what are the odds I've left my house for 20 minutes and I'm seeing them everywhere? That's insane. But I'm just like, it's also what's supposed to happen. Like I have to have this guidance to be able to feel like I can do this and be creative. And so it's like in the long run, we need the numbers. The numbers are what we need to be able to keep going.
Hmm. Yeah, there's been so many times I've been out and about and like my total will be like 22, 22 or 33, 33. And I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. Or like the gas pump will stop on like 77, 77.
That's so cool. I mean, it's just showing that in the long run, like, even though it feels like, because like when we push ourselves out of our comfort zone, we don't really have that support everywhere because nobody else does it. And
Mhm.
really, so we kind of have, and so it's like the angels are like, I got you, I got your back, like I'm here, I'm supporting you. And it's just really cool to be like, you know what, even though I don't feel supported like 100% in the physical realm, I feel supported in the spiritual realm. And I
Yeah.
feel I like they have my back and they're leading me on this path.
Yeah. It's just kind of reminds me that there's something beyond this. I think we get so caught up in like the day to day and what if I do this or what if I don't do that? Or, you know what I mean? We just get caught up in the moment and we're not really living, we're not really being present. We're just kind of going through the motions, or we're not really open minded. We're just kind of stuck in our own head. And I think a lot of times when those numbers come up, it just reminds me that there's something bigger out there. Whether it's, God or the universe or angels or whatever it is that you believe in, that there's something bigger than just us.
Yeah, I agree completely. There's always something, like we were put here for a reason. Like there's a reason why even every culture, everybody has something they follow, because it's they have to look up something to it, but in the long run it's just energy and it's just your guidance, and it's just like, wow, I really can create this energy and hold this certain level. And I think that's with the angel numbers, it even makes you be like, oh, I don't need to be so angry, I don't need to be so mad. Like sometimes I'll see them when I'm like really mad and I'm like, oh, Kelsey, you got to stop. Like you can't have that anger, you got to be live in patience, you got there, why are you mad? That's why I start questioning myself. I'm like, why are you mad? What's wrong? why do you have to be home right now? You're not doing anything. Like, question yourself and start asking that, and like start talking back to yourself, and like the what ifs and stuff. And like, it's really like, in the long run, that what if is that fear of just telling me that I can't do it when I know I can do it. Like, I put off this what if with like destiny cards and numerology my whole life, and now I'm sitting here going, what if I would have just talked about it?
Yep.
You know, if I've been being quiet my whole life, and here I am now, I'm like, I just want to scream and tell everybody about it. But it's like, you got to take your time and let it happen.
Yeah, everything, yeah, it'll come. And I think you just have to work through like your own resistance, your own fears before it will manifest. You know, they talk about this in the law of attraction too, why people don't get their manifestations immediately is because they're not yet at a vibrational match. And so a lot of times those angel numbers can help guide you to the next step. Okay, now do this step, or oh, now do this step, or oh, now do this step. Or sometimes what I'll do is I do what you do. I'll like get out of my own head and like ask myself, like, why are you so mad right now? What's your problem? Like, what could you do to make this easier? Or sometimes I'll just be like, universe, show, or God. Like, there's times I talk to God. It's so funny because
Yeah.
it depends on the day. I'm not like a certain religion, I wouldn't say, but there's certain
Yeah.
days like I'll talk to God. There's certain days I'll talk to like spirit guides or angels, or certain days that I talk to the universe. It really just depends on what floats my boat that day. So, but I will
Yeah.
literally say, just show me a sign. Like, if I'm on the right path, just show me a sign. And the next thing you know, I'll see like a bunch of numbers or something that, all say you're on the right path.
It's all meant to be. Like, it really is. And like, it's funny because like I see all these like older people, and they're like, it's kind of funny when you're at this part of your life, when you're in like your 80s, because you're like, it already happened, and it was really cool how it all kind of showed and came out. And so it's like, in the long run, we're just so excited for our life to start, that we're just like, we got to get there, we got to get there. But it's 365 days a year, but like, how much of that time do we actually do that, like hang out with ourselves? Are we always working? Are we always doing something else? Like, those days go, just like wake up, slow down, and just be like, you know what, I am important, and I am on the right track, and I'm going the right way. And I just feel like the angel numbers are the best way for it. Like, when I started, like, because I've been in spiritual work my whole life, but it's kind of like when you grow up, and it's hard you have to change your perspective the more you grow. And
Mm-hmm.
like, when I was younger, I didn't get the angel numbers. Like, I knew they were important, but I didn't understand. And like, now that I'm older, and like, it all makes so much sense. And I, like, half my life was mad when I saw an angel number, because I'm like, but where's my answer? And it's like, but that's not the answer. The answer is within you, and you are your own guide, and you can't be mad or angry. And so that's like the whole thing with spirituality, or talking to the universe. It's like, you can't be mad at the universe either.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, with me, I'm like, am I mad at the universe? And then I like would talk to myself and be like, why am I mad at the universe? And
Mm-hmm.
then and it really does make you realize, like, oh, I'm just really mad because I haven't been doing what I want to do. That's it.
Yep. We haven't been listening to ourselves.
Yeah. And we're the most important part, because like, we're living our lives, and like, you have to like stop and look in the mirror and be like, am I living my life?
I just had this happen. I have this happen to me all the time. Like, I'll be doing really, really well. I'll be like on the right track. I'll be like, yes, I'm doing all the things. I'm living life. I'm having fun. And then next thing I know, I'm like totally out of whack. And I'm like, what in the hell am I doing? Like, I don't want to do any of these things. Like, how did I get to this point? And it's like, you know what I mean? Even after because I know you've been in spiritual work for your whole life. I've been practicing law of attraction for quite some time, but like spiritual work, maybe a few years or so,
Yeah.
probably longer, but publicly, I would say,
Yeah.
uh, and even it's just so funny because even though this is very much a big part of our lives, it's still something that like you have to practice and tap into. It's not something that you just learn it once and you're like, oh, I'm good.
No, it's like an everyday, and like a spiritual awakening. Like, I could tell you stories upon stories of me trying to date people and telling them what I do, and how they would call me a witch and call me evil and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But like, it really, like, it is hard kind of growing up in the spiritual realm, because you kind of have to learn how to talk to people, and you kind of are, after so long, you're scared to even like I was scared to even show myself, and you kind of taught me I have to show myself. I have to
Yeah.
come out of my shell. And so like the spirit, but growing up spiritually, it's a roller coaster ride for sure. And that's why I would love to, I think me and you should create a podcast called Spiritual Fucking Awakening.
I'm in.
Yeah,
So
let's just do it. And then we'll just talk about all of our and it'll just be funny. Like it'll be like a podcast where we laugh.
it's so true though. Like I remember, and not everybody experiences this, but like I find that it's so hard to bust out of like that shell that you sometimes, that box that you put yourself in, or if you don't have like a super supportive family or a super supportive network, it can be so hard to put yourself out there. Cause I remember when I first started doing this, it pissed off so many people. And I was so shocked by that in the beginning. You know what I mean? I was like, why are you mad about, like, it was just so strange to me, but people did, they thought it was witchcraft, or they thought all this crazy, that it was stealing money from people, or that you're just like full of shit, or I don't, I mean, just the things that I would hear, it was like wild, because my intention was always, I'm doing this from my highest good to help others with their highest good, so it's like, I just want the highest good for everybody. And that was kind of my intention. And it was just so crazy how much that triggered people, and how much other people kind of projected onto me. And you have to be really, really strong and really confident and put your foot down. And this is where like boundaries come in. But this is also where like those angel numbers, I would see them anytime I was feeling really down, like, oh, this sucks, or this person said this, or da 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 da. All of a sudden a number would like pop up, and I would look it up on what it means. And it's like, keep going, or you know what I mean? Whatever the meaning of it was. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. And so it was just that little nudge, little validation that I needed to not let that negativity kind of bring me down. And that, this is just stepping into like your power, and like who you're meant to be, who you're supposed to be. And sometimes that can be really, really scary, especially if you've been conditioned that it is not okay to talk about this kind of stuff,
Yeah, exactly. And like nobody talks about the hard part of a spirituality. It is hard. You got to
It's
you
so
kind of like
hard.
wake up and you're like, okay, I'm this person, but like all these people around me don't have the same values of me or have anything and don't think like me. So it's kind of like, how am I supposed to, they aren't like awakened in that way. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard. And then you're kind of like, wow, I'm a punching bag for all these people actually. And so it's like spirituality is like you waking up and then you kind of being the trash can for everybody to pull you down, because when you're waking up, you have to like deal with the energies around you. And like with spirituality, like it's really hard. Like if I'm talking to anybody who's just getting into it, you can keep going, because yes, it takes a little bit to get to spirituality, but it's worth it in the end, because I am so me. Like the beginning of this process, I was 100 pounds overweight, and like now I don't have that extra weight on me, and I'm more myself than I've ever felt. And I think it's just because I haven't been able to speak for myself. I haven't been able to say what I wanted to say because I was so scared by everybody around me. So I had to like, you kind of like with a spiritual waking, you have to kind of find yourself. You wake up, you have those people around you, you're like, these aren't good people. And you have to
Mm-hmm.
find people. And then after that, you're like, wow, there are better people out there. I just have to say that I have to find them.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
like cluttering like your old beliefs. And as you declutter your old beliefs and your old patterns and your old habits, your old thoughts, basically, you also declutter the people who also embody that old version of you. And it's, I mean, you almost go through like a grieving slash rebirthing experience when you kind of step into that new you that you're trying to create, and I feel like most people see this after they try to live life based on, kind of what society wants, like
Yeah,
go to
I
school,
agree.
go to college, get a good job, get a husband, get some kids, do the things. And not saying there's anything wrong with that, but a lot of times if you're just checking the boxes, you're not truly fulfilled, or you're not really living like your life on purpose, or you're not finding passion throughout the day, and so when you start to listen to those guides and see things like numbers or even other signs out there, like there's certain like spirit animals, or you can have like a card reading, or because I know you do destiny cards. I mean, there's tarot card readings, there's psychic readers, or you can just like ask God or, universe, whatever it is that you believe in, like what's next for me. We've turned off that part of ourselves for so long that it's hard to tap back into that. And it can be really tough. But once you do, you're open to a whole new level of freedom, essentially.
Yeah, you are. And it kind of wakes you up and being like, I'm in control of my own life. Like, I don't have to just take whatever's thrown at me. I can say no. And with spirituality, it kind of is like, I can follow this guidance. And like with me, like when I first, even like 6 months ago, I still was learning about like the emotional balance scale that you've taught me about. And I was like,
Mhm.
wow, I'm in control of my own emotions. So I don't have to wake up in fear or depression. I can wake up and just be happy. Like there's no reason for me to feel that way. And if I am, why? So like that's what made me start decoding it. But as soon as you start decoding all of it, you're like, wow, it's all of me. Like I can create whatever I want to create. And as long as you just have all, like you just keep following, put one foot in front of the other, like you said, you will eventually get there. And that's,
Mhm.
I was led here. Like now I'm sitting here going like, if I could have just woken up like 3 years earlier, like if I could have just, but I can't do that. You can't get in the shoulda, coulda, woulda, what if, because that's also not a good way to think. You have to think, I'm here and I'm awake now. That's all that matters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all right now. And I mean, sometimes people can go on that path later in life, but they have to learn the lessons before that path can kind of open to them too. I feel like we've been given certain life experiences so that we can not only help like heal ourselves, but help others on their journey, whether it's, breaking generational patterns, or whether it's being, making an impact in your community, whether it's making an impact at work. I mean, it can be anything. And it's just like listening to that inner self, that inner guide, and then seeing the validation to go along with it, like the numbers. I mean, that's kind of always my go-to. That I'm on the right path. I mean, another thing that I like to do is I'll do like the oracle card readings, like the daily card pulls or whatever. Like, what do I need to know today?
That's perfect because we all need
Yeah.
to know what's happening, the energy of today.
Mm-hmm. And they're always, I mean, I would say about 99.9% spot on with like how I'm feeling and what would be like a good fit. And I've done these for like clients and stuff too. Well, you've seen that where I've like in the group and things, I'm like, hey, who wants to do a card pull today, or who wants to do a card reading, and I'll say like, ask your question, or what does so and so need to hear today, and then I'll like, do the little reading or whatever, and then send it over to them. And I'm not kidding you, like every time they're like, oh my god, that was spot on. Or I shouldn't say every time, I'd say 9 out of 10 times they are like emotionally changed by whatever it was that came up in those cards. And it makes no sense to me because I'm like, well, those cards don't fit me,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
fit perfectly for whatever situation they're in. Or if they're not sure what that means at that time, a lot of times they'll message me like a day or two later and they'll be like, oh my God, it all makes sense now. This and this and this and this. And that was exactly what I needed to hear. And it's just so cool to see that there's something else out there that has helped guiding us, and we're not, it just helps me feel like we're not so alone.
Yeah. Because we don't need to feel alone. Because, like, that's like the number one thing that's happening right now. We're also out isolated, kind of, we're all alone. But really, in the long run, there's nothing wrong with being alone because you have to be alone to figure out who you are. If you go out and party and you do this and that, you don't even know who you are. You're just doing what everybody else is doing. And when you
Mm-hmm.
pull yourself back in and find yourself and have that alone time, you really know who you are. And I think it just really finds, you're like, wow, I have these guidance and I don't need all these people around you. It's like that unattached behavior going like, I have friends around me, but I don't need them. It's
Yep.
just like, I'm thankful for them and I'm happy and they support me and stuff, but it's really nice that I don't have to fully support, them, or they support me. I know I have angels and I have all the universe around me, and it's fine because I'm not alone, essentially, because we're all on our path. And I think that's the whole point of these numbers, just to remind you, you're not alone. You are not alone. You have spirit guides all around you. You have people, might not feel like it, but like on the energy realm, you have people that care for you. We're all brought here for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And with destiny cards, like I love doing that, like pulling the cards and everything. Like everybody needs their own tarot cards. Everybody needs their own or oracle cards, just so you can rely on it. Cause we don't wake up and go, I'm going to have the best day every day. Sometimes you need a boost. You need somebody on the other side saying, hey, this is happening, but it's okay. You got to keep your head up. And that's the whole point of destiny cards too, just to tell people like we can play our own cards. It's how we play it. Do you want to play the high side of the card? Do you want to play the low side of the card? Because, I was playing the low side of my card. I even admit it. I was like, damn, I was being very low on my mindset, but it's okay because I learned how to never think like that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about lessons. Everything is meant to bring us somewhere. Like, we go to school and we get taught. We also are taught through our experiences in life. And like, if we don't have good experiences, of course, we're going to go through rough experiences to get to the good experiences. So then we know how to have them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't remember who said this, but they said we don't truly fail at life. We either win or we learn. And I was like, ooh, I like that. I feel like I'm learning a lot.
Yeah. Perfect. That's perfect. And like I always say this, it's like we're a puzzle piece, and then when we're 100, our puzzle's completely filled. We're just putting the pieces together every year. And eventually we'll have this beautiful photo of all the pieces we put together. But it just takes a little bit. Take some time. Like, take like how long does it take to do a puzzle? Probably a long time. So it's just like give yourself time to create your own puzzle. Because after the puzzle's built, it's pretty solid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting is we always want to like rush things. And I know this is me too, because as soon as I have my mind set on something, like I want it done now. Like I do not want to wait. I don't want people to tell me that it can't happen. Like I need it to happen today. And that's not realistic. And so I think, even like the numbers, like angel numbers or numerology or destiny cards or any of these other modalities, spiritual modalities, they remind me to just like slow down. There's really no rush. Like be in the moment, be on this journey, because as soon as you get to whatever it is that you have, like let's say, you always have more goals, there's always more desires, there's always more wants, there's always more manifestations. And I can't remember who said it, but they said you wouldn't want to eat your entire lifetime worth of food in one sitting. You would be miserable. It would cause you to die. Like it would cause death basically. And so it's saying just enjoy one bite at a time, take one bite at a time. And so that's just always a good reminder for me to just like, all right, chill out, slow down. Everything is working out in perfect timing. And I'm not energetically aligned with whatever it is that I am looking forward to or manifesting, but in due time I am on the right path. And so that's usually when those numbers come up and it's like, oh yep, okay, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, and that's perfect because like when we moved out here to Oregon from Colorado, I wanted to be out here. I was like, I don't care. I don't know how I'm going to get from point A to point B. I still didn't have patience at that point. I was just like, let's get there. Like we're going to make this happen. Like I was dead set on we are moving to Oregon. I don't care. But I was impatient, and it did create a lot of times where you get mad and you get stuck in your frustrations. And when you're traveling, you don't want to get mad while you're in a town that you don't know. You will only experience this moving moment once. So it's kind of like enjoy the moment, like say goodbye to the whole town, move on and go to the next step. Because if you're always impatient, then when you leave, like how I left Colorado, I wish I would have left it in more of a patient way and be like, bye, I'll come back when I want to see you again, instead of like, I'm running as fast as I can to get out of here. Cause like, I felt like when I got here, I was like, I was raised in Colorado, but I didn't really appreciate it. And now like when you're here, you're like, wow, I really appreciate where I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
And it changes your perspective of, I don't need to always run. Like, I got to experience a lot of my life in Colorado, and it was great. And like the traveling out here was great. And I'm so thankful for being here. And yes, it took longer than we thought, but it was also like everything that was meant to happen happened literally in perfect timing. So don't get ahead of yourself just because you're excited for the fun. Enjoy the moment, of course. Be with your kids, be with your family, everything. Enjoy the moment, and just like stop, smell the roses, and be like, you know what? I'm in Utah today. This is great. Like, I'm taking my time. I've never been here. Type
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like, that's what I wish I would have done. Like, just, like, I wish I would have just like taken my time, because I haven't been out there since. I haven't been back to Colorado since. I haven't done that trip again. And it's like, wow, the last trip I took was kind of traumatizing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like, it's kind of like, so with these numbers, like if I would have had the numbers then, I would have been so much calmer. Like, I'm like, if I would have just paid attention then, I would have been in a whole different mindset. So that's why I'm like, I really love the numbers. I'm happy where I'm at now. And like, it's like, yeah, we can sit here and want to be somewhere as fast as we can, but it's like, it's really nice to be like, but we don't have to get there that fast.
So can you recap what the numbers mean for us again before we kind of wrap this up, and then tell me what you want to leave listeners with today?
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to go over all the numbers. So 111, it means to keep on track. You're on track. You're following your guidance. 222 means you're loved. There are angels around you. Just know that you're loved by the universe, by God, whoever you believe in. 333 means be creative, lean into your creativity. You're on the right track. Your manifesting is coming into reality. 444 is a sign of protection and encouragement, that you are protected. Don't worry. It might feel like you're on the wrong path, but you're on the right one. 555 is time for change of life perspective, meaning like if you really want to change your perspective, it will happen. 666, be aware of your thoughts, because your worst thoughts can become reality if you constantly think about them. So start making your negative thoughts into positive ones. 777, you're on the right path. Everything will be okay. Money's going to be fine, financially free. 888 is being really strong. Good things are on your way. And then 999, completion, meaning you finally have gotten to the completion, and then you're on to the next stage of the next thing you're going through. And so angel numbers are the sequence of repeating numbers in a row. So it's 111, 222, 333. So just remember, anytime you see an angel number and you were like, I want to remember or look up what it means, just Google it and you will figure out what it means, because it's just here to be a guide for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's probably what I do. I usually like I'll Google like what is the spiritual meaning of XYZ, or what does this mean? And you kind of take what works for you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's perfect. I say everybody should use it. I did this. Actually, you can go more into numerology, of course, which we can talk about that later. But like, I use this to help me just kind of figure out that I'm here to be a spiritual mentor. And numerology helped me kind of find who I am. So I always suggest anybody to get into numerology. You can look up your life path number, Google it. You'll understand what I mean after that. But basically, it's the same thing as destiny cards. We are all here. We are all numbers. We're all here to do something. And you can go and find out what you're here to do, and just give yourself some comfort. I think it's just really to remind yourself that you are different and you are not here to do what everybody else is here to do.
Yep. I love
Yeah,
that.
me too. It's my favorite thing to do. Angel numbers, like, I look them up every day.
I do too. Or like somebody will message me, and a lot of them I have memorized now, and they'll be like, I keep seeing this. And I'm like, oh yes, that means this. And so I always encourage I always encourage the clients, like if you ever have like a question, or if like there was a week ago, a gal saw, she was seeing a certain kind of bird, or there's a certain kind of animal, or, if you see certain kind of numbers, like they can all mean something. And it's just, if they stood out to you enough to where you paid attention to it, it's probably some type of sign. It's not like you're not going to want to like Google every single number you see, but if there's something that like catches your attention and it like stops you for a minute, that then definitely pay attention to that, whether it's I mean, a certain type of bird that you never see, whether it's a number, whether it's something that somebody said, or maybe you got like front row parking at Target. I mean, there's always something that like will grab your attention where you're like, oh man, I wonder if that means something. If that like thought pops in your head, there is a likely chance that it would mean something.
Yeah, it really does. And follow the guidance and don't get into that like, oh, this isn't real. Yes, it is. There's a reason why you saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
like, see, and when you see like if you see an eagle, don't sit there and say, people see eagles all the time. That's an amazing thing to see, and look up what it means, look up the symbolism of it, because I agree with Sasha, everything means something. Even a butterfly means something. You just have to look it up and look up the spiritual meaning, so then you know the guidance, because sometimes you just need that. Sometimes you might have somebody who passed on and you might want to hear from them, and that butterfly might come in and you might be like, oh, I really miss my dad, and then there's your dad as the butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Everything means something. It symbolizes something, and it's amazing. And everybody just needs to be aware of it, because it's such like a cool way to be like, it's okay. No matter what, they're with me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love this. I can't wait for the next. We'll have to, I think we can talk about, we can talk about more numbers. We can talk about spirit animals. We can talk about different cards. We can talk about all kinds of stuff. So, but anyways, Kelsey, where can they find you at? What do you got going on right now?
They can find me on the Forgiveness Life Coach on Instagram. They can get on my website, theforgivenesslifecoach.com. And I'm also on Facebook, the Forgiveness Life Coach. And you can just contact me on there. I have destiny card reports. I have energy clearings, and I will help guide you on whatever you need help with. I'm kind of like a spiritual guru that helps with everything.
Want to know something funny?
What?
It is 2:22 right now as we end this episode.